So we are going to be working first with Project 1 student scores. And the first thing we are going to do is use the fill series option to fill the assignments 2 through 7, all the cells. And you want to click on assignment 1. And if you move over to this corner here, you can see that this plus sign turns black. And you're going to click on it and you're going to drag it all the way to assignment 7 here, and that's going to change the formatting for all of those cells. Next, we are going to remove all of the conditional formatting from this worksheet. So you are in the Home tab, you're going to click on conditional formatting over here and click Clear Rules, and I'm going to do it for the entire sheet. There we go. And we are going to move to assignment 1 sheet right here. And we're going to add a slicer for the student ID column. So you want to click on this chart here and click on the Insert tab. You're going to see here slicer. You're going to check the box for student ID and click OK. And there you have that. So we're going to move this over here because now we are going to save this chart as a template. You're going to right click on it and hit Save as Template. And we want to save it in the Documents folder as Assignment 1 Chart. And sorry. Okay, save. And we're gonna replace it because I already have one named like that. We just wanna make a new one for that. And now we want to display the developer tab. As you can see, that tab is not in a ribbon. So we're gonna go over here to Excel and click Preferences. I'm gonna go Ribbon and Toolbar. It's a little bit different for Mac computers. Just keep that in mind. And here I'm gonna click All tabs and check the box for Developer and hit Save. And you're gonna close this, and there you have the Developer tab. I'm going to move on to Project 2 for hockey players. And the first thing we want to do is we want to prevent formulas from being automatically evaluated when data changes. And that's an option that you can find here if you go to the Formulas tab on the ribbon and click Calculation Options, and you're going to change it to Manual. Alright, so moving on to Project 2 hockey players. The first thing we want to do is prevent formulas from being automatically evaluated when the data changes. You can do that by going to the Formulas tab here in the ribbon. You're going to go to Calculation Options and click Manual, and that's going to change that. And now we are going to create a pivot table in cell A2. So if you go to in cell A2 in the players. Alright, so moving on to project number 2, hockey players. The first thing we want to do is prevent formulas from being automatically evaluated when data changes. And for that, you're going to go to the Formulas tab on the ribbon, and you're going to click Calculation Options and change this to Manual. And there is that. For the second task, we're going to create a pivot table and the player's salary worksheet. We're going to go to worksheet here, and we're going to do it in cell A2. I'm going to click Insert and hit Pivot Table. And we want to do this to show the average salary for each position. So we're going to go back to the NHL players worksheet where data is. And we want to use cells C2 all the way to D35. And you're going to click OK. Now, if you go over to pivot table, you're gonna check salary and position for the fields that we want to show. And here where it says values, you don't want to show the sum of the salary. You want to show the average. So we're gonna click on that. There we go. And we're gonna change this to average and hit OK. And that's changed there. The next thing we want to do is change the settings for this pivot table to refresh the data whenever the file is open. So you're still on the pivot table analyze tab. You're going to go to options, and we're going to go over here to data and check refresh data when opening file and click OK. Now we are going to add some cells to the wash window. We're working with the NHL players worksheet, and the cells we want to add are A2 all the way through F5. So over here, and we're going to go to formulas and click watch window and hit the plus sign, and you're going to have all of those cells there. And finally, we are going to add a formula in the about last week's sheet. So I'm going to go there. I want to add it in cell B6. And what we want to know is if these players are worth keeping. So we want to use the equal and function to display true if all of these values are more than or one or more than one, and false if at least one player didn't have any goals for last week. We're going to select all of our values, and I used more than 0 and close the formula and hit enter. And as you can see, this is showing a false value because at least one of the players didn't have any goals. Project is named Champions, and the first thing we're going to do is in the first worksheet named Champions, we are going to add a formula that uses a single function to look up the team abbreviation in the abbreviation worksheet for this team listed here. So we are going to add the abbreviation here for this team, and for that we're going to do lookup, and we want to find is this value in all of the cells. Okay, and then we want the result to be one of these values, right? And then I close that, and as you can see, that is the abbreviation for the Ottawa Senators team. And then for the next task, we are going to add a password to prevent anyone from adding, deleting, or modifying this workbook. For that, you want to go to Review tab. We're going to do Protect Workbook, and we're going to enter for the password. So you're going to use whatever password you want. Click OK or Enter, and you're done. And then for the next task, we're going to move over to the recent wins worksheet, and we're going to be working in cell G3. We want to add a formula that will show if a recent winning team ranked in the top 10 in the league for both goals scored and goals allowed during the season. And then we want to display expected if this happened and not expected if it didn't happen. So we're going to use the if and functions. Do equal if, and then for the argument, we're going to use and our first condition is that this number is smaller than 11. Our second condition is that this number is also smaller than 11. We're going to close that, and then we want to display if this condition is met, we want this cell to show expected and comma not expected. Close that and press enter, and there you have that. As you can see, since both numbers are in the top 10, that's why this cell is displaying expected here. And the last thing we want to do, we're going to go back to Champions worksheet all the way to cell D43. So here we are. And we want to use a formula that uses date and time functions to show how many years ago this team won. So it was 1967. What you want to do is use this formula, and it's not going to show up in Excel for some reason. You're going to do equals dated if, and then open parenthesis, and you want to use the year that the year that was the oldest, so 1967, the first year. And then you're gonna do comma, we're gonna do today. Let's close that, and then comma, and you're gonna do y for years, close parenthesis, click enter, and as you can see, that was 56 years ago. And that is all we have to do for this project. For the first thing we are going to do is on the pivot chart worksheet, which is where we are right now. We're going to add region field as a filter to this pivot chart. So you're going to click on the chart, and you're going to drag region over to filters here, and as you can see, this is going to be created here, and if you click on it, it's gonna let you select any of these regions if you just want to show one region or two, or if you want to show them all. And you have that. Then for the second task, we're gonna go to the sales data worksheet. So let's go here, and we're gonna calculate the total number of sales from Colorado that are less than $10,000. And we're going to do that in cell B363. So do equal sum if, and the range you want to use is for all the cells in Colorado. So E all the way, I believe it's like 121. I think I did too fast. Okay, over here. And now we're going to do the criteria. Let's do less than 10,000 and close that. And we're going to hit enter. And I think it's loading. Oh, we're going too fast. There you have that. And then for the third task, we want to remove the name cells region from the range A2 to E361. So we're going to go to formulas and we're going to go to name manager. And as you can see, we have this name cells region for those cells that we just mentioned. Click on it and delete it. It's going to ask you if you're sure that you want to delete that, and click OK. That's good. And then the last thing we are going to do is on the percent of sales pivot chart, we're going to add a 3D stacked bar chart. So we're going to click insert, and you can see this little bars here. Click on it. We're going to do a 3D stacked bar, and we're going to select the data that we want. And the data we're going to be using is from the bar chart, from the data in the pivot table. So let's go to the pivot chart, and this is your pivot table. So just click on that, and you're going to click OK. And there you have that 3D stacked bar chart.